You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
With Talking Life, I'm Lara Snell. Brits are being urged to get to know their bacon this week as we celebrate Bacon Connoisseurs Week. The aim of the campaign is to spark the Great Bacon Revolution, celebrating our love affair with the meat, recognising the different cuts and cures and the fact that it's not just for breakfast. And we're being reminded that great bacon begins with great pork and encouraged to look for quality assurance on packets. Actress and food lover Faye Ripley told us why she thinks we all love it so much.
I think us Brits love a bit of bacon because, one, it's been around forever, but two, it's the smell and it's the crispiness, and there's sort of nothing else like it really, that it's so Moorish, and I think that it kind of satisfies a bit of your brain and your tummy at the same time that nothing else can.
And she explained why it's important to look for that traceability.
I like to know where my meat comes from, and certainly where my bacon comes from, about the traceability from farm to fork. So for me, the best assurance is to look for the red tractor mark. That way, you really do know what you're getting and you know the standard of what you're getting. The best place to look for more information is lovepork.co.uk. There's a whole load of recipes, loads of interesting stuff. That's where to head.
A Lords committee has warned that the UK isn't ready to support its ageing population. They warn that we could be facing a series of crises in public service provision. They're saying that changes need to be made in pensions, healthcare and employment regulation in order for us to meet the challenges of the future. And the number of households across the UK renting from private landlords increased by 50% between 2008 and 2011, according to new figures. The number rose from 10 to 15%. Additionally, the Great Lifestyle Survey found that in that time, the number owning a house with a mortgage fell from 40% to 35%. With Talking Life, I'm Lara Snell. With Talking Money, I'm Lara Snell. We're being warned Britain could be heading for a retirement crisis as new research reveals the huge number of people not saving towards their old age. JP Morgan found that 46% of people admitted saving nothing towards their retirement, despite two-thirds of us saying we'll be relying entirely on our pensions payouts to support us. What's more, 1 in 4 people say they're so worried about the future that they'll keep on working past the age of retirement. Keith Evans is a savings expert from JP Morgan Asset Management. He told us that there's a perception gap when it comes to what people expect to be living on.
The onus is becoming more and more upon us as individuals to make provision for our future. And unfortunately what the research tells us is that there's a big gap between perception and reality. Only about half of us, 50%, are actually making any kind of contribution towards our retirement, making any kind of savings at all. And yet at the same time, people are saying that they expect to retire on about 40% of their final salary. So there's clearly a big gap there.
And he says that people should be aware of the alternatives to pensions or downsizing.
What's important, I think, is to give ourselves some options. And there are other options available to people, such as ISAs, individual savings accounts, which offer a little bit more flexibility potentially than pensions do. And then, if you have these different options available to you, then perhaps that will lead to a different outcome in retirement.
The price of wholesale gas has hit an all-time high after fears over supplies. This follows the closure of one of 3 important pipelines after a fault with the UK-Belgian connector. This comes amid a cold snap which has already provoked fears of a gas shortage. And there's good news for motorists after the planned fuel duty increase set for September was cancelled. George Osborne revealed the measure during the recent budget statement. It had been due to rise by 3p a litre. With Talking Money, I'm Lara Snell. With Talking Health, I'm Lara Snell. Cancer deaths in young adults and teenagers have fallen by half since the 70s, according to a new report. Simon Cliff has the details.
The report by Cancer Research UK shows that deaths fell from 580 to around 300 per year, with the biggest drop being recorded in deaths from leukemia. It's thought that the improving figures can be put down to more developed treatments. However, despite this, cancer is still the second biggest killer among the age group, with just road traffic accidents causing more deaths. Around 2,100 young people aged between 16 and 24 are diagnosed with cancer every year. Experts are now calling for even more patients in this age group to be enrolled in clinical trials in an effort to further improve survival rates.
Doctors have raised concerns over the phone service set to take over from NHS Direct. The 111 non-emergency service has been piloted across some areas of the UK before its expansion next week. However, some issues have been raised, with patients in some cases being left on hold for hours. Now, the Department for Health says the rollout in some areas will be stalled, with an extension of 6 months for areas struggling to set up the new service. And a new survey has suggested that most family doctors have prescribed a placebo to at least one of their patients. In a poll, 97% of GPs said they'd given a sugar pill or drug with no proven benefits for a particular condition to treat a patient's ailment. The Royal College of GPs has defended the findings, saying that there is a place for placebos in modern medicine and a proven benefit to patients. However, they do warn that some sham treatments could be inappropriate, leading to issues such as drug resistance or side effects. With Talking Health, I'm Lara Snell.